recording, please? You already beat me to it. Great. Well, let me just go ahead and first formally welcome everybody to our general open house. My name is Walter Crawford. You may notice that there's another name on there, Maureen Whitman. She is the co-founder, along with myself, of Homeschool Connections. She wasn't able to make it this evening, but we are glad to have you with us. And she was able to make it for a very personal and important meeting, or rather, family event she had to attend. But with that in mind, what I'd like to do is, and what we always do is start off in prayer with our open houses, but also to kind of give you a little flavor. This is the same formula that we use with our classes too, which you'll find in many of the classes that your students, or if they so take the live courses or even the recorded ones for that matter, that our teachers will start off in prayer, and we'll do that same thing now. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings bestowed on us, especially our children. Please let us be good stewards with what you have provided us. Please let this open house be an instrument of your will to ultimately assist parents with their efforts to educate their children. We ask this in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. Well, thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it. As I said in the beginning, this is what I want to do mostly is get to your questions, right? But I want to give you a general overview of Homeschool Connections and what we're all about. I'll give you a kind of a flair for what we're up to, and answer your questions throughout. Not just at the end, but throughout. So I'll do my very best. So if you could, as a question comes to you, and I saw the ones in chat, or rather in the polling questions, so I'll do my best to address those as well. You may see me go off sharing so I can see them all in their totality, but I may stop sharing for a little bit. But I'll certainly do that at the end so I can review those questions. But what I'd like for you, but if you have other questions that come to mind, feel free to put them in chat. Anastasia Brooks, who's with us, she's helping me monitor the situation, monitor the chat and everything. She'll be helping me make sure that the questions that you ask there are going to get answered. Okay. All right. So I've already formally welcomed you. My name, as I had mentioned earlier, is Walter Crawford. I'm the co-founder. I want to share a little bit about me personally. We live here in Keller, Texas, which is a suburb of Fort Worth, and I live. We have 6 kids. They have all been homeschooled. 2 of them have graduated. 4 of them are still at home. Those other 2 that are graduated now in college, and they did take Homeschool Connections courses. So along with the local co-op that we did and some other stuff that we did in-house. So we're kind of an eclectic formula that we use for taking classes. So speaking of classes, let's talk about what we have to offer that maybe answer some of your questions up front. In general, Homeschool Connections provides courses for kids all over the world. As we are represented here in this conference, or in this webinar, we have representation from coast to coast, from California all the way to Maryland. And so likewise, we have a lot of students within that same bookend, you might say. We also have students that take us from Canada, also from Europe, the Philippines, and even New Zealand and Australia. So we're fairly well represented all across the world. It's a place where we provide affordable classes, whether they're live or they're recorded, and really to confidently give the best possible and highest levels of learning at home. That's what we're here for. And what we're going to talk about in our time together are 2 different course types. There's live courses, which I think many of you are interested in, but also unlimited access. Unlimited access is our term given to our recorded course subscription, and we'll talk about that. We also have 2 program types it's worth calling out. We have a full-blown writing program, and also called Aquinas Writing Advantage, and our grade school program, which is suited for grades 3 through 6, right? And the writing program is suited for 6 through 12. It's worth pointing out that too. So what we're going to talk about is how the courses work. What's it like to be in an online classroom with Homeschool Connections? We're going to give you some more information about specific courses, and you'll have a chance to learn more about the teachers. And I'm also going to, as I mentioned, I'll address your questions and we'll talk about prices and things of that sort, because I know that might be on your mind, especially in this high inflationary era that we seem to be in right now. You'll also get information on how you can integrate unlimited access into your learning at home. We have a lot of people that do that, as a matter of fact. And you'll find out how simple the technology can be, and how you can add it to what you're currently doing. So our mission is inherently to connect your Catholic homeschool to the experts. And we followed the kind of the spirit of the new evangelization as started by the John Paul II, Saint John Paul II, and his teachings on the domestic church. Now, we use technology, and by the way, and I'll get into this a little bit, but I'll just say this now, that we were one of the first online providers in Catholic circles, right? In Catholic circles to offer online courses. There were a lot of wonderful programs that were out there. They weren't necessarily teaching live dynamic courses through teachers teaching like it's so common now, right? It's very common now. But when we started in 2008, that wasn't something very common. And so I was using my degree and my business experience to help launch what we now have as Homeschool Connections. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit on our history, but just understand that our intention is to continue to use technology to amplify your family's homeschooling efforts, and making sure that you have the resources available that you and your family needs. Now, what you're looking at here is an award-winning program, right? We were very fortunate to be nominated by parents for the iLearn homeschool practical homeschooling award, which is a Protestant award. It's a Protestant magazine, as a matter of fact. But we were nominated and have been for the last, golly, since 2013, I want to say. I think there was a break in there with COVID, and also in 2015 when the owner of the magazine had some family issues that prohibited her from actually doing the awards. But anyway, we won an award every year. And this year we swept all 6 categories, as indicated by here. You can see these little award designations. We got it for Latin, for general online academies, for personal finance. We know it's a good course, but we had no idea that it would win us an award. But for middle school and middle school core curriculum, for high school, and for writing and composition. So we're very proud about that. We also wore one for the homeschool.com. There's a Catholic, they have a Catholic category for Catholic home education, and we won that one too, which again, we weren't even aware of. These are just nominations that came in, and parents were, these were all nominated by parents and voted by parents. So we're really proud about that. But that's a testament to the quality of people that teach and that support. People like Anastasia Brooks, who's with us this evening. People like our staff. We take no credit for this. We know that these people are the reasons why we get nominated, and also we win these awards, because of people like them. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that, and I've alluded to a little bit, but I'll certainly tackle now, one of our biggest endeavors is to provide an affordable, engaging courses from a university level professors and practitioners. So these are people that are very skilled in their particular area, and you'll learn more about them a little later on. Now, we started offering webinars for parents in lieu of conferences. So maybe you couldn't make a conference, but you still wanted to hear from the Danielle Beans, the Maureen Whitmans, the Mary Ellen Barrett of the world. Anyway, and so what I did is I reached out to these folks and I said, would you like to give a talk? And an hour-long talk to answer questions from parents. This is in 2007, 2008. And that's what we started doing. And what we were hearing from parents is, that's great, that's wonderful, but we really need you to do more. What can you offer us? And they pitched some ideas. But what we did first is we wanted to make sure we had a better understanding of what they wanted. And so we did some polling. And the parents ultimately said, can you do online classes for high school? And that's exactly what we ended up doing. We ended up providing online classes, and our first class was in 2009, April of. We actually formed in 2008 with the advent of the webinars, as I mentioned earlier. But our first course was offered in April of 2008 by Ed Rivette, who still teaches for us, actually. He's a legislative, at the time, he's the legislative director for the Michigan Right to Life. And the the response that we got from parents and students was quite overwhelming. That was the very look that they were giving us, as a matter of fact. So, and it's because of this response, and all sorts of things that happened leading up to this, that we feel like, and with all the teachers that we've been put in touch with, and all the things that have culminated up to that point and have continued to culminate, it's very much like the Holy Spirit's been involved with this, and we truly feel this way. In fact, we call the CEO of our organization the Holy Spirit, the big HS, because of all the wonderful things and all the things I could go into. I could spend half an hour on just telling you how Maureen and I met. She lives in Michigan. I live in Texas. How did that happen? But it's a long story, so I won't endeavor to go through those details. But needless to say, it's worth pointing out that the Holy Spirit had definitely its hand on us and in our efforts to help you educate your children. And so that's kind of where we started, right? And if you fast forward to today, and I think this is what a lot of people are here to learn more about, is what do you have to offer now, right? And today we offer live and recorded courses for grade school students starting at the level of third grade, all the way up to high school. And as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of a redundant slide, so forgive me a little bit, but it's live and recorded formats. And as I mentioned earlier, we have the grade school and the writing program that I really want to call. And then we have core courses and above. So it's not just about biology. It's not just about chemistry. Those are core courses, but we also have pursued and have ever since our beginnings to provide content and courses really that is interesting to students. Let me give you an example. I'm getting ahead of myself, but what the heck? So for example, we have a course called 12 Inventions That Changed History, right? And those 12 inventions, what the students are learning, they're learning about American history and world history in many ways, but they're looking at, it's world history, it's a world history course, but they're looking at it from the lens of what those inventions. So it puts a great context together, and the students love it because they're learning something that about, let's say, the printing press, right? But how did that shape the world? Instead of looking at the time, there's the printing press, in 15, whatever it was, 20, whatever it was, 15, whatever. They're not looking at just that window. They're looking at that instrument, that tool, and how did it change the rest of history, right? So that's what we try to do, is to provide classes and teachers that have a really wonderful effort, and they're passionate about things and making it interesting for your students. And that plays itself out very much in recorded and live courses. All right. So, and the classes can be accessed by the parents, right? Or any other individual who desires to learn more about specific topics. So these aren't just limited to students like of high school and lower ages. If a parent wants to watch a recorded course, we've had that request before, which is why we added the slide. So feel free, if you have any interest in the topics that are in front of the students, you can subscribe and you can become you can dive into those subjects if you're interested. All right, before we get into the grade school program, let me take a look here and see if so the questions I see that are coming in. All right, here we go. So Catherine asks, what's the difference between third grade live class and grade school classes? Not much. I mean, it's really what is, I would say to that, Catherine, is we have we do batch of students third, fourth, and fifth and sixth grade in the same courses, you might say, but they're fashioned differently. The teacher who teaches that, who's also the director of the program, she also has an assistant as well. They will fashion the level of difficulty of work to their respective grade level. So, and it's really worth pointing out at this point that the grade school program isn't your third graders sitting in front of the computer by themselves, where they're just taking in information. No, it's an exercise in helping the parents teach the student. So this is really important. Our approach is different than, say, maybe other providers. We want to integrate the parent into the process. And what you do with the grade school, with the grade school program, it's basically an entire syllabus has been provided for you. It's facilitated by the instructor, and then you and your student work together on the work. Right, so you do it together. My wife has done it with our now 9-year-old, and she'll be doing it again next year. And she loved it. The kids, it was her introduction into an online program and online classes. So she's learning how to do things functionally. A third grader isn't necessarily equipped to do the things that are necessary in front of an online experience, for an online class. So we recognize that, and we want the parents to work alongside the student. And by the way, philosophically speaking, I would say that that's true for all of our classes. And by that, I mean, we are here to support you as a parent to help your student learn complicated material, right? Especially when you get in the high school level. But we're not here to displace you. Philosophically speaking, it's our help to support you in that effort. So say, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say your student, you enrolled your student in what we've designated as a senior level course, but they're a freshman or maybe even a sophomore. Let's make it more realistic. Let's make it a sophomore. And they are struggling in the class because maybe it's too much for them, whatever the case may be. Well, you know what? As a parent, or rather as a teacher, they're going to give them a grade. And they may take into consideration, depending on the teacher, they may take into consideration, especially if you let them know, their age competent, maybe their comprehension, right? Their ability to comprehend the content. But you as a parent you can say, look, they only got a C in the class, but you know what? I'm going to take that into consideration. I'm going to put down an A or a B on their transcript because I feel like they deserve that due to their work effort and the things that go with that, right? So in a nutshell, we are here to help you, help your students learn the content and not replace you. So if those things, and our teachers know this, our staff knows this, it's our philosophy, and we imbue that with everyone we speak with, when they come on board, because we want to be an advocate for you and not in opposition to you, or feel like there's this teacher parent, that's not what we're about. That's not our philosophy. We're here to help. All right. So that's a good question. Hopefully that answers. I may have expanded on that a little bit too much, Catherine. Please let me know if I didn't answer it properly or whatever. Jessica asked, are all the teachers Catholic? Almost all of them are, and the ones that aren't are what that we do. They will teach with the Catholic ethos, right? So there's only like one that I can think of out of the 55 that are teaching for us, or so, maybe 52 that are not. But yeah, I mean, pretty much. And the one that's teaching, it's not teaching like a theology class or anything like that, just so you know. So what we require is that the teachers teach with the Catholic ethos. And that's our guardrails. That's the guardrails that we ask the teachers to follow when it comes to content, delivery of content, you name it. That's our focus. Erica's asking, do we offer music? Will we ever offer music courses? Interesting. Well, reach out to us, Erica. I see the second part of your question. It just depends on what you're talking about. Are we talking about music history, or we're talking about actual music, playing the piano kind of thing? Reach out to us, and you can reach out to us at homeschoolconnections@gmail.com or info@homeschoolconnections.com. Either way, we'll get the same. It'll go to the same place. All right. Let me get one more question in, and I'll get into the grade school program. Let's see here. If you pay the fee for unlimited, will the writing course be included in that, or does the writing Aquinas Writing Event should have its own separate fee. So let me explain. Yeah, so when you pay for unlimited access, you get access to all the courses, right? You get access to all the content within it. Now, it's worth pointing out that there may be some other things you need to buy with the course. Let's say a book or something like that, right? That's not included in the price for the subscription. That's the first thing I want to point out. But they will include either an answer key, a rubric for you to grade the answers that your students, maybe the work that they have to do, or you'll have or you'll have the quizzes will be, or the content, or rather the activities will be self-graded, right? That's another consideration, and that's usually the case. Most of the quizzes and such are self-graded, or they give a grade as a result of when the student finishes the quiz or what have you. Now, for things that are not, and I'm going to mention this later on in more detail, but for things that are not graded or can't be graded by you, even if you had a rubric, maybe you don't have the time, we have a feature called Instructor Access, which is an additional service that you pay for, but you're paying for the student or the teacher who who taught the course to grade your student's work. And it's a really cool thing because it keeps your costs really down compared to other courses that are taught live in other places, right? Comparatively speaking, it's a great deal. So hopefully that answers your question. And if I didn't answer it, please let me know if I didn't. All right. So all right. So let's get into we're going to get into the grade school program, talk a little bit about it, and then we'll get into the middle school and high school, and then we'll get into our teachers. Okay. So keep the questions coming. We really appreciate you asking. All right. So, well, first off, why join the grade school program? Well, it's a program you can simplify and streamline your home education with integrated literature-based curriculum. With its project-based learning incorporating history, science, language arts, art, and religion all together. So the projects that they work on kind of build upon each other. They're either these different facets are the different angles that the students are taking. And like I said, my 9-year-old daughter loved it. She really got a lot out of it. And she is her first introduction to an online class, and she's looking forward to taking it this year. So this is they should say, I'm sorry, it says Renaissance and Modern History track. This year it's ancient and American history, I believe, is what's this year. So you get a written and online guided experience. So this is last year. I should have, I'm sorry for the typo here. These are going to be recorded. Then the new one will be American this year. The American history and ancient history, I believe, are the two that are being taught this year. So you can choose whichever ones, but it's in 4 modules. We rotate them. We rotate them every other every year, I should say. But you get a written and online guided experience with a listing of the courses to take. You get the how-tos to make a complete family learning experience. As I mentioned, it's a 4-year cycle, and it's coordinated courses for all students in your family. So what we're focusing on the live courses for our high schoolers and middle schoolers is ancient and American history. So likewise, we're doing the same thing with our elementary school, excuse me. So what's nice about this is the students can take, your third grader and your 8th grader and maybe your junior or senior can have a conversation about similar content at the dinner table. Now, granted, their comprehension levels can be different, but it's designed so that it's to keep kind of a comprehensive approach so that the family can enjoy a conversation at the dinner table. So that's what we're doing this year. So I'm sorry, I said ancient, I meant medieval. My bad, I misspoke. So this year is gonna be medieval and an American. Those are our 2 options are being taught this year. Ancient and Renaissance are going to be recorded, just so you know. So our live courses are going to be focusing for grade school, are going to be medieval and American. All right, so how does it work? So learning takes place 4 days a week. Families will join, meaning the parent and usually the student will join live on video 1 day a week. It's a flipped classroom approach. Projects are discussed and presented together live, so your student will get a chance to present the work that they've done. And families are provided with daily lessons, checklists, videos, and other materials for learning. So that way, you and your son or daughter can learn alongside. You can learn along them. I should say alongside them, and it makes for a wonderful learning experience. So my wife enjoyed it quite a bit too. And the spine of all of this is the story of civilization written by Philip Campbell. And that is the spine of all this. It's the 4-volume set by Philip Campbell, who teaches high school for us, as a matter of fact. All right, before I go any further with that, before we get into middle school and high school, does anyone have any questions about this? Anything I can address? I haven't seen any come in yet, so about this particular grade school program, but if you do, feel free to type them in chat and I can certainly get to them. All right, let's talk about the middle school and high school courses. So the courses cover subjects from, as you might say, from everything you can imagine, right? We have over 200 courses taught this year that are live, just the live courses. We have over, I've been told, I haven't done the math myself, but over 500 to 600 recorded courses. I think it's over 600, but that may be a little bit daunting. But what it does is it gives you the ability to choose the right course for your student. You can kind of surf through all of them and see which one kind of, tickles their fancy, so to speak. But anyway, the courses in broad terms are subjects that cover the following: philosophy, logic, and ethics, modern literature, ancient through modern, from Homer to Tolkien to Dracula, math, from general math courses all the way up to calculus, financial math, and accounting, writing, which is really one of our, like I said, we won an award for it, from the basics, from punctuation and grammar to college preparatory writing. We have a student that's teaching a writing course this year who was a student of the program. And one of our prerequisites is that for teachers for the writing program is that they're authors. So not just any author, but they've been highly vetted. Our program, we love MFAs, meaning with masters in fine arts, and a lot of that has a heavy emphasis on writing. So that is a big prerequisite for our writing program. And so the kids get a wonderful experience. My daughter, or rather, I was reading a testimony today from a parent that shared with us that one of her students got one of the highest grades on an essay that she wrote at Hillsdale. If you don't know much about Hillsdale, it's a phenomenal school. But and this person is a peer of Victor David Hanson. So anyway, they work closely together on writing their books and such. The point being is that these students are introduced to a wonderful writing program, and they come out very good writers. If you want to know more about the writing program at large, I would highly encourage you to take a look at our Aquinas Writing Advantage open house. We just had one 2 days ago. We're going to have another one in, let's see, July. We'll have another one in August. We're back to our subjects. The sciences. We go from physical science to biology to chemistry. I believe our chemistry it's eligible for dual enrollment for Franciscan University. Our psychology course is also a dual enrollment with Franciscan, but also Benedictine College too. So that we have some dual enrollment courses as well that I haven't mentioned. I should have put in my PowerPoint, but I did not. Anyway, but that gives you an idea. And these courses are so biology and chemistry and the sciences in particular are usually taught in part 1 and part 2. That's usually fall semester and spring semester. That's how we usually operate them. Same with Latin, Same with math. Your core courses are going to be like that. Literature is a little different because you have a little more flexibility with that. But they are literature is going to be usually taught by subject. So it might be a focus on Jane Eyre, or it might be a subject on Dracula or something like that. And they'll go from like, but it'll be thematic. So it'll be of a particular Victorian novels, that sort of thing. That'll be things that you'll see with our literature courses, right? All right. So let me go back. I saw a couple of questions come in. When I say dual enrollment, is there an additional college credit charge for those courses? Yes, but it's nominal. It's much more reduced. So I think like what it normally costs at Franciscan, for example, is like $900. I think it's down to 300. I think I have to look at them. We have an FAQ section on our website that has the numbers, but yeah, it's very much like that. Catherine, as far as the labs go, good question. What we do, a lot of what the students meet for, I think it's an hour for the like chemistry labs, and what Mrs. Dutton does in this case, she walks the students through the lab process, and I believe that that she asked them their results, or they even show them their results. I can't be certain on that, but she's been teaching it for the better part of and you can ask her too directly if you like, because she's open to taking questions, but she's been teaching it that way for the better part of 8 or 9 years for us. So that's but it's very involved in the chemistry. By the way, it's worth pointing out that Maureen Whitman's daughter had to take chemistry at Franciscan. She took chemistry with us in high school, and she said, bar none, the chemistry class at Homeschool Connections was harder than what I took at Franciscan. It's much harder. So it just shows you the level of that Kathy Dutton. It's a college level chemistry course. So just so you know, it's a very challenging course, and they learn a ton. I mean, they're very equipped to go into college chemistry after taking our chemistry level class, which is why it's a dual enrollment class. And yeah, there will be a copy of the recording made available. I'll send out tomorrow. So everyone knows. All right. Great questions, everybody. Keep them coming. Psychology, I mentioned psychology already, so a social science type course, but it is a dual enrollment course, and we do have other social science courses that are available. We also teach geography and geology and space science. One of my favorite courses taught by us is by a NASA engineer. It's called SOARS, Space Operations and Related Sciences. And the kids actually, they do a project where they're actually learning how to launch their own homemade rockets. I promise you it doesn't involve a fire or anything that would be life-threatening. One student made a water rocket, and out of a Dr. Pepper bottle or a Coke bottle, a plastic one, and it went like, he did a video of it. It went like 100 feet in the air. It was crazy, but it came right back down to where it started. So they had to do it, and he showed it, and it was wonderful. So it was a kind of neat project. So as far as theology, we have apologetics to theology of the body, to Mariology, biblical studies, and more. This year we're doing election law, we're doing election course, which is great because they do it every 4 years. So we do it when the federal elections are up. So it's not just federal, I mean the presidential election years is when we offer this course. So that's going to be fun. That's done by, I think it's going to be done by Paul Hyatt, I think. The name escapes me. I can't remember which teacher's teaching it, but it's a great course. The kids learn a ton in real time. So the course is taught as the election cycle approach, as the federal elections approach, and the aftermath following it. They talk about the Electoral College and everything else you can imagine. So it's really neat. The kids learn it in real time alongside the historical event of that election, which is kind of neat. Computer skills, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, computer programming, 3D modeling, data sciences. We're actually another one that we offered this summer, which is kind of neat. Build your own computer. That's actually happening right now. So summer classes are really neat. That's a neat opportunity for the kids to learn how to put together their own computer. And so we have someone teaching that class. As far as languages go, we go from Spanish, German, French, American Sign Language, Greek, and Latin. I always encourage parents to consider the destination of their child, meaning are they going to college? And if those colleges, do they accept American Sign Language as a foreign language. Some do, some don't. I think it's a great pursuit, but it's not something that always colleges actually will accept, just so y'all know. All right. Let me let's see if there's any questions that have come in. Okay, thank you, Anastasia, for providing that. Yep. Our books and fees, in addition for these courses, are included in listed prices. Good question, Catherine. They are separate. So let's say you pay $197 for a class. That's a pretty common first semester, and then if for the fall semester, and another 197 for the spring. The materials will be separate, but what's worth pointing out, a lot of the teachers will try to avail themselves to do their own research and find good content that's either used, so you can get it at a discounted price, or for no cost at all. For example, one of our government courses uses, there's a website called Founding Fathers. I think it's called Founding Father documents or something like that. Anyway, it's 101 Founding Father documents, including the Declaration of Independence, your what is it called? The letters, the John J. Alexander Hamilton letters. They forget me. Maybe you can remind me in chat what they were. I'm forgetting the name of them, but anyway, but we try to find free resources as much as possible, or very low cost resources. Some of your sciences are going to require a book that's going to cost more money than I like to pay, for sure, but that's inevitable if you really want a good science book. So as far as invention, or rather history, is concerned, we have ancient through American to the modern era, of course. And as I mentioned earlier, what we're trying to do is align that with middle school, elementary, and high school are all kind of in that same bank, if you will. So that's a big part of what we try to do, is so that the conversations around the dinner table are really creative. So we had a question around music. We do have like music appreciation and things like that. So we have art. We have an art class. We have speech and debate, drama and the performing arts, and culture and film. There's a book to film course, which I think is really cool. So kids get a chance to compare the book that was written and the film that was off the book, and see if it's any good or not. They do their own analysis. But it's a neat course. It's going to be offered this year as well. And life skills. So we want to make sure that the students feel equipped to get into college, or whatever their next endeavor happens to be beyond high school. It doesn't have to be college. So, but we want to give them the necessary skill sets. So one of the things we offer is how to be an excellent student. And that's a great course. It's a 4-week course, but it teaches the kids on how to be good at being a student, how to take good notes, how to listen, how to ask good questions, things of that sort. We also do test prep, and we're going to do a CLT test prep course, and also one for SAT and ACT. All right, let me stop there and see what other questions have come in since then. Oh yeah. So Catherine, the question is, so the course is SOARS, SORAS. It's Space Operations and Related Sciences. Really, really cool. All right, so Karen, good question. So you're worried about the teachers only meeting with students 1 or 2 days a week, especially language class. Understand. We have, but fair question and fair concern. What we find is the students, what they try to do, or rather what the teachers, especially like beginning conversational Spanish, and the conversational Spanish is courses, they're talking in Spanish throughout the entire time. And the teachers do give them work that they have to do during the week. So oftentimes they have to record their audio and then they get feedback from the teacher. So a lot of the assignments happen all in Spanish. What they have to do for homework is in Spanish, as an example. French too. So far, the results have been quite favorable. If you have that question or you have that concern, maybe the best person to speak with, and I'm happy to, if you reach out to us, and I'll put in the chat so you have access to it. if you reach out to us at this, as I mentioned earlier, info@homeschoolconnections.com, put your question to us on there. And what we can do is we'll put you in touch with the teacher. If there's one particular language that you would like to know more about, or meaning from the teacher who's teaching it, we're happy to put you in touch with them, and they can tell you about the rigor that's related to the actual that particular language class. Okay. All right. As I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned earlier, there are two ways to take. Oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, there's two teachers that teach that. By the way, sorry, I'm interrupting myself. There's Mrs. Schmidt and also Mrs. Oh, why am I forgetting? Mrs. Schmidt. Oh, and oh, think of her name. I'm completely spacing out. But we can put you into we can put you in touch with them, and we'll get you answers to your questions. Okay, Mrs. Lopez. Thank you. Say, oh my gosh, I'm completely drawing a blank. All right, but there are two ways to take courses. All right, and as I mentioned earlier, there's the live. And we have, I said over 200, I think it's over 200 actually live courses with 45 teachers that are teaching this year. And the live course kind of goes as follows. So you have a scheduled date and time that you're going to meet. That's available, and you can see that from the course catalog. You sign up for the preferred course that you're wanting, or courses. Class begins on a specific date. Now, the students will receive a reminder through email. And in fact, that'll go, there'll only one reminder, but what they'll have in their particular profile, they will see the actual meeting times. So there'll be a calendar. It'll have their meeting times within that calendar, also assignments that are due and things of that sort. So really shouldn't escape them, and nor should it escape you on when those things are due or when they're supposed to be attending class, because it's available to you and as a parent and to the student, same location. It's due to our new learning management system called Caravel. It actually makes it so much easier than what we used to have as our learning management system. It makes it easier for you as a parent to track and to support your student throughout the learning process. And I can show you that if we have some time at the end, and we should have a little bit of time. All right. But all right, back to what I was going to share with you. So the classes begin on a specific date. The students get a reminder email. They go ahead and enter the online classroom. They click on a link like you did with this Zoom link. The teachers will teach. The monitor, like Anastasia, they help monitor the class. So it's another person, another adult in the room that helps the students stay focused, allows the teacher to focus on the content and answer students' questions, and helps the monitor make sure that the students remain focused on the conversation. Because sometimes, especially middle schoolers, it's crazy how middle schoolers can be. You wouldn't think that they've ever typed anything well, maybe that's what it is. That's what it is. But they don't. They will go off on tangents left and right. But our monitors will help focus. They're trained in it. We teach them how to do it. And also, if it gets out of control, there's a protocol in place that we have that discusses the appropriate approach to take in managing that. The students interact as long as it's on topic. There's homework that's due. The teachers will grade the assignments, and the grade book is updated for your records and for you and the student can to be able to review. Good question. Catherine's asking, what's the registration deadline? Is there an open enrollment throughout the year? The answer is you really can enroll up to the day of the class. But I would point out to you that early enrollment period is July 15th for fall and November 15th for spring. We break that up so that we do that on purpose because we're trying to manage the budgetary constraints of the typical homeschool family, the single income homeschool family. So you can pay for the fall classes. They're $20 off per course up to July 15th. On July 16th, they go up $20 more. And then that's for the fall. And you can buy the spring courses too by then too. It doesn't matter. But if you want to wait longer, you can. On November 15th, the prices will be $20 cheaper there too. but on November 16th for the spring, they go up $20, just so you know. So that's your deadline. Now you can register up to the day of class, assuming that there's seats available. Sometimes classes fill up and there's no way around it. Now, we do sometimes offer, or rather, if a class fills up early, especially before the early enrollment period, chances are we're going to open up another section. So if there's a class that fills up and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get my student into it, rats. Well, and that happens on July 13th, 14th, 15th. Chances are we're going to probably have another section open up. But it's really in your best interest if you want to take advantage of the discount to go ahead and register before July 15th. In fact, I'm going to do something a little out of the ordinary. I'm going to give you this coupon right here, HSC 10 lowercase is a coupon that gets you $10 off even the early enrollment price. So you're saving $30 off a course, basically. You apply to all the courses. So feel free to register using that coupon if you like. All right, another way to take courses is through unlimited access. Is that what I've mentioned this before? And what is unlimited access? It's basically our live courses. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Forgive me. It's our live courses that are now archived, and they've been catered and fashioned to a recorded version of it, okay? And so the assignments and all the things that's presented to the student are done with that in mind, that they're consuming now in a recorded fashion, okay? So that's what unlimited access, and it's access to over, I said it says 450 here. It's more than that now. It's like like I said, 600. And we have over 60 teachers. Most of our teachers return, by the way. Our recidivism rate is very high. A lot of our teachers love teaching for us. We love having them. And so because of that, we have a high number of teachers that have taught for us and have continued to teach for us over the course of our 15-year existence. All right. So you may be asking yourself, what is the price related to for unlimited access? It's $360 for 1 full year. Now this is going to change a little bit, just so you'll know, and it's going to get better. I will point out, and I'll talk. I can talk a little bit now, but it'll be more relevant when we flip the switch. But on August 1st, with the new learning management system, all of our recorded courses are going to go to Caravelle. And so all new courses started on August 1st or after will be under that new platform. So the price is going to be a little different, but your access is going to be different. But for now, I'll just say this, that the annual price for unlimited access for a family account is $360. If you decide to sign up for that right now, we'll honor it. And that's what it'll be. It'll be like that for what it is. Now, the monthly subscription is $34.97 per month. And by the way, when I say unlimited access, that means everyone in the house has access to that account, okay? So if you have, say, 4 students that want to take classes over the summer, what have you, you'll have 4 accounts, or I'm sorry, let me back up here, sorry. They can share that account, and they could all consume the content, right, from various courses out there. They have one account that they log into, and it's a shared account, and you can they can all take the classes at their leisure, okay? And that's if they take a 360 for 1 full year, or if you decide to do it monthly for $34.97. Now, with we have a trial period, just so you know. So you have 7 days that are for free. You kick the tires to see if it's even kind of conducive to your students' appetite for taking classes. You can cancel anytime. Now, let's say you wanted to have each student have their own account. If they want to have their own account, that's called a multiple user account. And that's where if you get two accounts, let's say you have 2 students that want to have their own account, that would be, it wouldn't be $34.97 a month. It would be $44.97 a month. So for 2 students. And if you have more than that, if you have 3 or more students, it's $54.97 a month. And notice it says immediate family only. So we ask that you don't include your 3rd cousin once removed in the program. All right. All right. So yeah, Jessica asked, can they all use this account at the same time? Yes, they can. They don't have to have separate accounts. Now, the reason why you would want separate accounts is for tracking reasons. it's easier to track if you have separate accounts. But if you all want them to be, if you know that you can track them individually, even if it's under a shared account, that you could do that, and it would be just one account, and you just pay for that amount. Yeah. Now, if you don't want to do that, let's say you just want to use one course at a time, you can do what we call single access, and that's $17.97 per course per month. Let's say it's a 2-month course. The course is going to, well, let's say it's 6 months. Let's just make it easier on you. So you'd pay $17.97 per month for that one course, and let's say you're ready to go to part 2 of that course. Just email us, and what we will do is we'll flip the switch. We'll move you over into that second course, and you'll just continue to pay $17.97. But now you're looking at a new course for that next 6 months or whatever it might be. All right. Now, right now, our learning management system is Moodle, but it'll soon to be Caravelle. So that's going to be where the students will have access to. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but Caravelle is going to give you a lot more flexibility in managing your student's account. So think of it this way. What you would do is you sign up for this is going to be starting August 1st. You'll sign up for a subscription, and what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to allocate your student to their courses. You do that as a parent. So you designate which courses they're consuming. And really, in that case, there is no distinction. When we flip the switch on August 1st, the price it'll go from $34.97 to $39.97, but you can have as many students in there as you want. So there is no $44.97, there is no $54.97. It's $34.97 for all the students to consume, and they all have their own account. So that's where Caravelle is going to be different. So that's what I would, if you think you're going to have more students, take more than one student taking it, then it might be in your best interest just to wait till August 1st if you're looking at recorded courses. Again, you're welcome to reach out to us if you have any questions about this, and feel free to ask them now. So how does unlimited access work? Let me speed things up a little bit. You choose your course. Classes begin when you want to start because it's a self-paced arrangement. You start with class 1 and with the recording and all the relevant content and maybe activities that are in that class. And then students would complete the work and the quizzes if there's a quiz that is part of that week. And they can watch this content on virtually any device. So we made it very device friendly. You may be asking yourself, are there answer keys? Yes, there are. Now, it's worth pointing out that the answer keys are password protected. You are the only one who can access them. Students can't get to them. So just so you know, they're password protected. We provide you the password as it is in Moodle, but when you get into Caravelle, it'll be emailed to you automatically. So when you try to attempt to access the answer keys. All right. But what if you don't want to use the answer keys to grade it? Well, I mentioned instructor access is an option. Instructor access, as I mentioned earlier, it's a place where you can basically contract essentially the grading services of the teacher who taught the class. So you would reach out to the student, reach out to the teacher. You hit a button. It pays that teacher. They get in touch with you to go ahead and initiate the grading process. That's basically what instructor access is all about. How much does it cost? It does depend on which course. Some are more essay and grading intensive than others, but the range is generally speaking between $30 a class to up to $100. And that's generally the range that you're talking about. But if you think about it, if you're doing single access with even a class that's $100 for instructor access, you're only paying $120 basically, or $140, depending on how long you take the class for that one class. And you're able to give them a grade from the student from the teacher who provided the feedback. All right. All right. So what I want to do now is kind of transition away from the courses and into the teachers, if possible. And I'll get to your questions as they begin to filter in. One of the things we pride ourselves on is enthusiasm, and then emotions are very contagious. And we look for teachers who possess those attributes. So when we find a teacher, and by the way, a lot of them are referrals because a lot of our teachers know what we're looking for, but we really want teachers that are passionate and enthusiastic because that's a contagious feeling, and we really feel like that's important for the quality of teachers that we employ. But to give you some instructors of note, Dr. Jean Rioux, he is the chair of the philosophy department at Benedictine College, teaches philosophy for us, as you might imagine. Joseph Pierce, a popular Catholic author, also one of the I think he's one of the co-founders of Rosary College. If you haven't looked at, that's a new college that just developed, but he's been on EWTN. He's a Chestertonian. He's a great guy, great friend actually. I meet with him when he's in town. Lisa Mladnik is a popular Catholic speaker and author. She's the founder of AmazingCatechist.com. And so she teaches for us. And Gary Mishuda, another one. He's a popular Catholic author and expert on the Catholic apologetics. And he also has his own radio show. So he appears on Catholic Answers quite a bit as well. And Erin Brown, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. She is the director of our program, writing program that is, and she has her own MFA, and she has been hiring wonderful teachers that teach the writing program, and she's as you can tell, she's authored many books, including the book that's used for the program, Simplified Writing 101. And there are a lot more I could go into, but needless to say, we look for high level, high quality teachers who are passionate, who really want to make sure that your students feel equipped for whatever their next destination happens to be. So let's see if a question came in. So it is one-time payment for the length of the class for the instructor access? Yes, that is correct, Jamie. You pay one time only for the teacher to grade the assignments. All right, let's get into some other things that are worth pointing out. Just our we have some live courses that are coming up. Just so you know, these are the ones that are still available. So how to be an excellent student, jumping into German. So by the way, I say summer courses are great because if you want to take a class that's really low cost, but you want to see how we operate, how our teachers are, how enthusiastic they are, this is a great way to doing that. You can see how your student responds. Highly recommend the summer courses for that, if that reason and that reason alone. But one of them is free, the Gospels, Fact or Fantasy. That is the Gary Mishuda course, as a matter of fact. Live lessons from Blessed Carlos Acutis. I think that just started. I don't know if that should be on here, but I think it just started. I could be wrong. But the other ones haven't started yet. There's a wood carving camp. We had one earlier. There's one coming up in July. The Merchant of Venice, a pro-life boot camp, Narnia for young adults, Math Foundations boot camp, and so you get a sample of the kind of courses we're teaching just by the name of them here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can integrate Homeschool Connections in your homeschool in many ways. We mentioned the full-on programs, the Aquinas Writing Advantage program. If all you did was take those courses, your student will become out an excellent writer when it's all said and done. I guarantee it. They're just that good. My kids went through it, and they write excellent. One of them is now interning for the Dallas Morning News, one of the top 5 newspapers in the entire country. She's on the op-ed staff, as a matter of fact, which was out of all the 9 or all the 20 different interns that they brought in, she's the only one in the op-ed. That's like a privileged spot. And she competed with that internship with students from Northwestern University, Princeton, Brown. By the way, these are not bastions of conservatism or even Catholic ideals, but they are considered to be top quality schools, right? So she beat them out basically, and she goes to Hillsdale. She's the only Hillsdale student that's part of the program, a part of their internship program. So it shows you how good of her writing is, and she's a product of the AWA program. You can do single subject areas, like if you just want to focus on a foreign language, like I mentioned earlier, French or Spanish or whatever, those are options as well. And you know what? Maybe you already got everything buttoned up. You got all your subjects set for one class. You need that one class to help your student graduate, or maybe just to fill out their schedule. Our courses are offered a la carte. So you can buy them. There's no sign-up fee. There's no none of that. There's a registration fee. That's what you have to pay for you pay for the class, and you'll have to buy the materials, but there's no additional add-on fees or anything, administrative fees, nothing like that. It's just that one class along with the content you'd have to buy for. And it's a great stopgap measure for helping you round out your curriculum for your student. Yeah, so I think I just answered that question, Catherine. There's no general membership fee at all. Yeah, not at all. All right. So yes, Marley, we are a vendor through Arizona. We are. So just reach out. You should be able to find us there. And if you don't, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that we are available. I worked on it, so it's touch and go. It takes a long time to hear from them sometimes. So I get confused with New Hampshire and Arizona and Florida, but I'm almost positive Arizona has us on their list of vendors. So yeah. All right. Next, student life outside of class. So let me. This is kind of concludes our content heavy portion, you might say. But to give you an idea what it's like for the students outside of class, one, we have a weekly rosary for the kids, and by the way, the staff and teachers join us for that, and parents are welcome to join us. We have a Friday night game night, which is fun. Every Friday night, the kids get together with an adult moderated game. They play all sorts of games together. That's part of our student cafe. We have our own Minecraft server. So if you have a student that's interested in Minecraft, you're not talking about anyone and everyone getting into the Minecraft server. It's our own server. It's just ours for the kids to play in. They have writing contests. My daughter just my freshman just won a writing contest. It was a student run contest, and she just won it. So she's all excited about that. And and she's part of a group that they're giving critiques on the writing of their own novels, actually. And there's a group of girls that are reviewing their work and they're giving criticism and telling them what they think. That's all part of the student life that's in the student cafe. It's kind of neat. So the student cafe is really neat. By the way, your students have to be registered with Homeschool Connections, either as a live course student or as a recorded course student. So Sarah's asking, how do you find the student cafe on the website? We don't actually have it on the website. We mention it here, and we invite students. We will be inviting students to join starting. We kind of refresh it every year, but we'll be doing that come August, actually. It's by invitation only. What I mean by that is this. I don't mean it the way it sounded. We want the parents to ask their students to be part of the community, to be part of the cafe. The parents have to ask us, because we want the parents to know that their students are part of the cafe. We don't want anyone just to be in there, just so you know. Yeah. Good. So Genevieve is asking, North Carolina just started offering the voucher system. Does HSC participate in that? No, we didn't. I didn't even know about that. So if you could send me details, actually, I would really appreciate that, Genevieve. Let me put my email address in the chat. And yeah, there it is. And reach out to me if you don't mind with the details, and I'll be sure to follow up on that. So what is it like for parents outside of class? Well, we have a community, and that's available off the homepage. We do a rosary twice a week, actually, Mondays and Fridays, and you get support from other parents. And the staff is acutely aware of the questions that are asked in the parent community website. It's not Facebook. We have a Facebook community there, but we also have, if you're annoyed by Facebook, you don't like Facebook, that sort of thing, we have our own community, and you're welcome to join that if you like. All right, just a couple other things that's worth pointing out. We have our own podcast. Please subscribe. We love people who subscribe. It's free. It's great. We have wonderful interviews. We have over 200 interviews out there. And it's a great way to hear from all the leading thought leaders in Catholic homeschooling. So I highly recommend checking out our podcast. We have a new registration system. I've already talked about it. Caravel at caravel.homeschoolconnections.com. I'll copy and paste the link in there. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and I will be sending out all these links that I'm referencing in the email along with the recording. So don't feel like you're missing out, or you have to write all this stuff down. I should have pointed that in the beginning. Okay. And feel free to reach out to us at the 800 number, right? The 888 372 4757 number, or at info@homeschoolconnections.com. We're very happy and willing to answer your questions as they come. All right. So let's see. I'm going to see what questions have come in. How do we find the cost for the live classes? Jessica asked, good question. There are two ways of doing that. And let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment, and I'll answer that question for you, okay? So bear with me. I want to take you to my screen. All right, so forgive me. I want to take you to Caravel right now. There are two ways, actually. Well, forgive me. I'm kind of taking you through everything here. All right, here we go. So let's say you log in to our to Caravel, right? And by the way, to get to Caravel, let me take you this. I'm going to take you further back. If you go to homeschoolconnections.com, right? You go to this page and you go to find your course. I'm sorry, not find your course. I'm getting ahead of myself. You go to register and then register for live courses. So go to register and register for live courses. That'll take you directly to Caravel, which is what you see here. Okay. Now, if you want to explore the catalog, click on that, and then you click on Explore Live Courses. Now you don't have to create an account. By the way, I'm logged in as let me log out and I'll show you what I mean. You can go to Caravel, and this is the screen that you'll see when you go to Caravel if you haven't logged in. But you can explore the catalog without an account by clicking on that, and you can explore live courses. And here's where you'll find the courses. Now here you can search the various filters. You can search by instructor. So if you like Philip Campbell as an example, I heard someone express their interest in Philip Campbell. If I go down here, I can find his courses he's teaching right here. So these are his courses listed here. These are all the courses. He has 7 classes he's teaching this year. If I click on this link, what happens is it'll take me to the course page and the catalog page, and I can see where it says the cost of the course. It tells you the early enrollment period and how long it's eligible for, and that this course it only has 10 seats remaining, so it's filling up pretty quickly. But it's $227. It'll be $247 on July 16th, just so you know. Now that's how you can see the prices of the price of each course. By the way, it's worth pointing out that let's say you were logging in. I'm just going to show you something because it's worth pointing out. Let's say, give me just a moment. I gotta log in myself. All right. It always prompts me for a code. All right. So if I wanted to go ahead and let's say I create a student and I go and create a profile for them, and I want to go ahead and let me go back here. Sorry. Turn back to my parent account. Let's say I wanted to go to the catalog and I wanted to look at the live courses, and maybe I'm not ready to actually enroll my student in a course, but I want to make a note of it. Let's say it's Christian architecture class. I can go here and I can add them to a wish list. So I can add my student, I can add a wish list. I can add this course to their wish list, which is neat because then you as a parent can go in and see the wish list items. If I go to my cart and I can go to view wish list, I can see that there are 2 courses that I want to go ahead and register for later on. Right? It's a neat way for you as a parent to be able to keep track of courses that the student might be interested in. You're not buying them, you're just adding them to the wish list. When you're ready to buy them, you go to the course and then you go ahead and add to cart. And that's the process to actually purchasing the course, right? All right. Sorry, I felt like that was really important for you to know. I probably shared with more than you wanted to know, but All right, Catherine's asking, Florida has a step up PEP scholarship for homeschoolers. I heard I can pay for classes and submit for reimbursement. That is accurate. I don't think we're part of Florida yet. That's something I'm looking into right now. So more to come on that, Catherine. I don't know if we we are part of their vendor list, just so you know. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for now. I think that probably answers most of the questions that have come in. But are there any other questions that I can help answer for you guys before we call it a night? I'm sorry for going over. Please accept my apologies to your spouses and your children who may be waiting for you in the wings. But I'm happy to take more questions if there are any that I haven't already answered. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that, Amanda. Yeah. And again, we'll send out the recording here tomorrow, first thing tomorrow morning, okay? Great. Yeah, thank you for coming, Jessica. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm glad to hear it was helpful. Yeah, and if you have questions for teachers in particular, as I've kind of alluded to, reach out to us. We'll definitely bring them in the know, and we will give you access to be able to reach out, ask them questions too. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you, Anastasia, for helping too. And I really appreciate everyone coming, and we'll catch up with you soon. God bless. Good night.